Best friends since childhood, Jamie and I always loved exploring. Summer meant adventure.
This year, it was the dense, whispering woods behind our town. Locals told tales of strange lights and eerie sounds, but we scoffed.
Armed with backpacks, compasses, and curiosity, they plunged into the woods. Sunlight faded as the canopy thickened. Hours blurred. They followed a barely there path, more instinct than trail.
Then I tripped, not on a root but on stone, cold and smooth beneath the leaves.
Brushing aside dirt, we uncovered more stones, arranged in a pattern unlike any we'd seen. It wasn't natural. This was placed here by someone long ago.
Excitement crackled between them. This wasn't just a forest, it was a mystery waiting to be unraveled. They followed the stone path, each step taking them deeper into the woods and further from the familiar. The air grew cooler, the silence deeper, broken only by their own footsteps and the distant calls of unseen birds. An atmosphere of ancient secrets settled around them, sending shivers down their spines. The trees thinned, revealing a sight that stole their breath. A city swallowed by the forest stood before them. Crumbling towers reached for the sky, choked by vines. Buildings, grand even in ruin, lined streets reclaimed by nature. They stepped into a plaza, its once paved ground now a carpet of moss.
Etched into remaining walls were intricate carvings, strange creatures, unfamiliar symbols.
Mark, look at this. A carving of a winged serpent, its scales meticulously detailed.
And over there, a towering archway, mostly intact. Above it, a single, unblinking eye. It feels like it's watching us, judging our every move.
A shiver ran down Mark's spine, a feeling of unease settling in his gut. The sun dipped lower, casting long shadows that danced across the ruins. The wind picked up, whistling through the gaps in the broken buildings. It carried with it a sound, faint but undeniable, a low growl, guttural and primal, echoing from the heart of the city. The growl sent chills down their spines. It wasn't an animal they recognized, this was something different, something ancient and powerful. Fear warred with their curiosity, but it was too late to turn back now. They had awakened something. They pressed on deeper into the city, the growl growing louder with each step.
Look, Mark, a massive temple, its entrance guarded by two enormous statues. They depict fearsome warriors, their faces frozen in silent screams, each clutching a broken weapon.
As they approached the temple, the ground trembled. From the shadows within, a creature emerged. It was reptilian, with scales the color of jade, and eyes that burned with an internal fire. It moved with a serpentine grace that belied its size, its claws scraping against the stone. The creature let out a deafening roar, echoing through the ruins. This was the source of the growl, the guardian of this forgotten city, and it did not seem pleased by their presence.
Mark, we need to run!
Jamie grabbed Mark's arm, his eyes wide with terror. There was only one thought in both their minds: run! They turned and ran, adrenaline erasing all thoughts but survival. The creature thundered after them, its heavy footsteps shaking the very foundations of the city. They dodged crumbling pillars and leaped over fallen stones, the creature's enraged roars echoing behind them.
Jamie, it's gaining on us. Its jaws are open in a silent snarl, revealing rows of razor-sharp teeth.
They scrambled up a pile of rubble, the creature's claws scraping the stone just inches behind them.
Mark there, a narrow passage between two buildings almost completely hidden by vines. It's our only chance.
They plunged into the darkness, the creature's frustrated roar echoing behind them. The passage was tight, forcing them to crawl on their hands and knees. Debris littered the ground, slowing their progress. They could hear the creature thrashing behind them, trying to force its way through the narrow opening.
We can't outrun it, Jamie. We need to find another way out. The passage opened into a small courtyard, choked with weeds and dominated by a single massive tree.
Moonlight filtered through its branches, casting eerie shadows across the crumbling walls.
They were trapped. The creature's roars reverberated through the courtyard as it tried to reach them.
Jamie frantically searched for an escape route, but there was none. They were cornered.
Mark felt a surge of despair. Was this how it ended, trapped in a forgotten city with a mythical beast?
He noticed a glint of metal beneath a pile of rubble. Pushing aside the stones, he uncovered a bronze shield, its surface etched with the same strange symbols they had seen earlier.
It was heavier than it looked, but he managed to lift it.
The creature squeezed its way into the courtyard, its eyes burning with predatory hunger.
Mark raised the shield just as the creature lunged. The impact knocked him back, but the shield held. The symbols on its surface glowed with a faint, ethereal light. The creature roared in frustration, slashing at the shield with its claws. Each blow sent vibrations through Mark's arms, but the shield held firm.
The symbols seemed to pulse with each attack, as if absorbing the creature's fury.
Jamie, his initial terror giving way to a surge of hope, pointed to the symbols on the shield, and then to the carvings on the surrounding walls. They were the same.
He remembered reading about ancient languages, about how symbols could hold power, they just had to find the right combination.
It was like a puzzle, one that held the key to their survival.
Time was running out. The creature was growing more enraged by the minute, its attacks becoming more frenzied.
Mark, still struggling to hold the creature at bay, looked around the courtyard, his eyes scanning the carvings on the walls, desperately searching for a clue.
His gaze fell on the massive tree in the center of the courtyard. Its trunk was covered in the same intricate carvings. This was no ordinary tree. It was central to this place, perhaps even a source of the city's power.
I remembered the carving I'd touched earlier, the winged serpent.
He saw a similar carving on the tree, its scales seeming to writhe in the moonlight.
I slammed my free hand against the carving, feeling a surge of energy course through me.
The symbols on the shield flared brightly, bathing the courtyard in an ethereal light. The creature roared, momentarily blinded by the sudden illumination. This was their chance.
Understanding dawned in my eyes. I grabbed a loose stone and hurled it at the creature, aiming for its head.
The stone struck its mark and the creature roared in pain, momentarily distracted.
I used the opportunity to slam the shield against the creature's snout again, this time with all my might.
The creature stumbled back, disoriented and enraged. The symbols on the shield pulsed once, twice, then flared with blinding light. A wave of energy erupted outwards, throwing Mark and Jamie to the ground. The creature shrieked, a sound of pure rage and agony, and then silence. Mark and Jamie lay on the ground, gasping for breath, their ears ringing. The light faded and they slowly got to their feet, their bodies aching but their spirits soaring. The creature was gone, vanished without a trace. The courtyard was still, the only sound the rustling of leaves in the wind.
We looked at each other, our faces a mixture of relief and disbelief.
They had survived. The shield, now dull and lifeless, lay on the ground between them. It had served its purpose.
I rushed to Mark's side, checking him for injuries.
Mark was bruised and battered, but otherwise okay. He laughed, a shaky sound that echoed strangely in the silence. They made their way out of the courtyard, back into the passage, the moonlight guiding their steps. They didn't speak, but they didn't need to. The shared experience, the terror and the triumph, had forged a bond between them stronger than any words could express. They emerged from the passage, blinking in the sudden brightness of the moonlit city. They found their way back through the ruins, following the path they had made in their desperate flight. Each fallen column, each toppled archway served as a reminder of their encounter. The forest seemed different now, not menacing but welcoming, a safe haven from the secrets hidden within the stone. They emerged from the trees, blinking in the light of the rising sun.
The woods we had known since childhood seemed different now, holding a new depth, a hidden history we had only glimpsed.
They walked back towards town, their pace slow, their silence filled with unspoken thoughts. They bore the scars of their adventure, both physical and emotional, but they also carried with them a secret, a knowledge that would forever set them apart. They had looked into the face of the unknown and emerged victorious. The sun climbed higher, painting the sky in hues of orange and gold. They reached the edge of the woods, the familiar sights and sounds of their town welcoming them back to normalcy. Or what passed for normalcy after the night they'd experienced. Life went on, days turned into weeks, weeks into months. But the memory of that night, the thrill of discovery, the terror of the chase, and the wonder of their escape remained vivid in their minds. They never spoke of what they had seen, not to anyone. Some secrets, they realized, are best kept hidden. The woods held a new allure, a silent invitation to return, but they resisted its call. The city slept, its secrets guarded by the forest and the memory of a terrifying guardian, and for now that was enough. They had their stories, their shared experience, and the knowledge that some mysteries are best left undisturbed.
We stood on the edge of town, looking towards the dark silhouette of the woods.
The wind whispered through the trees, carrying with it the faintest hint of a growl. Or perhaps it was just their imagination. They turned and walked away, leaving the secrets of the hidden city to slumber once more.